Hello, welcome to another Alpha Strike We Play video. My name is Adam and this is my friend Taryn.
Hey buddy, how we doing?
We are talking about other little hoopy special technology weapons and equipment and stuff.
We are still in weapons ready missiles. Are you bored with us yet? Because we've got a lot more to go.
There's a lot.
We're going to talk about a few little electronic-y, funky, doodah-y things today, aren't we?
And how to protect yourself from missiles as well, which is probably what everyone wants to know. I want to know. Let's do this. All right, so
Let's
switch
do
us
it.
in.
Swoosh.
Okay, so we are looking at the Total Warfare book at page 129.
129, right there.
Right there. And we're starting with the anti-missile system. Now, Taryn loves his LRMs, and
I
plays
do.
him for that, that's fine. But I would love nothing more than to shut them down when he uses them against me. And this will do it. Well,
This
it will
will do
assist anyway. It's pretty good.
It will definitely help.
So the anti-missile system is a ballistic style weapon that shoots down incoming missiles.
Yep.
And the way it does that, it also has ammunition. So you get 12, for the inner sphere, you get 12 shots per ton.
Yep.
And for the clans, you get 24, because they're
Which is
so much
just
better with their stuff.
Because they're so rude.
And an anti-missile system is placed in a location, weighs half a ton,
Yep.
and it will protect that arc.
Yep.
Right? So if you put it in the center torso, it's just the front, left, that sort of thing, rear, left, that sort of thing. Okay,
Yep.
so you place it. What happens when someone fires a LRM or an SRM or even an MML, depending on
Basically any missile
system essentially that
Yeah.
comes at you, you take a neg 4 off their cluster hit missile roll.
Yep.
All right. So if they don't hit, then it doesn't matter; it's wasted. If they hit, that's what you do. You take neg 4.
It's worth noting that the AMS can't ever reduce the roll below 2.
Yes.
Okay, so you can't wipe out the whole flight with these ballistic AMS.
Yes.
Yeah.
So the big MRM 40 that comes flying at you, you're still going to take a minimum of 12 points of damage or whatever. So many missiles. Sorry, you're out of luck.
It's better than 40.
Well, that's true.
Okay.
That's true. Yes. Yes.
Oh dear.
So these will also work against streak launchers. Now, streak missiles, they don't roll on the table. It's either you hit with everything or you don't. All right. So it's considered that the opponent has rolled an 11 on the table, and then you take 4 off that. So if you've got a streak 2, basically it's going to take out 1 missile.
Yeah.
And then work your way up from there.
Yeah. So it's already hit. All right. So the AMS goes off if you've been hit by missiles. So you're adjusting cluster hit tables. So the streak, they have to pick a number, and 11 was the one they wanted. What about our Thunderbolts and Narc missiles and things?
Right. So if you've got one missile, a single missile, all right, there is a 50-50 chance that it will wipe it out, basically. So because you're not rolling on the table, you're hitting or not hitting, same sort of thing, but it's one missile. So what is it? 1 to 1
so
to
1
3,
to 3
it's
it's destroyed. 4 to 6 it hits you.
It gets through.
So that's your Narc missile beacon. So I think the previous video we discussed Narc missiles.
Yeah.
It is technically a missile weapon, so it sets this off.
Yeah.
But there's only one missile. And Thunderbolts, which we covered, which everybody seems to love.
Yeah. Well, why wouldn't you? You've got basically an AC 20 range
At
potential
18.
at what, 18 or something.
Yep.
Yeah.
It's pretty good.
Yeah, I would definitely have an anti-missile system to shoot down a missile.
I'd have one on every single arc with like 10 tons of ammo, just to be sure.
Oh my God.
But you got the 50-50 chance for that. So
That is a really good piece of
not bad.
equipment, though.
yeah,
You know,
It's
overall,
quality.
if you're going up against people who, especially those, like if you're traveling to the periphery where they seem to have one-shot rocket launchers everywhere, that's really useful.
Yeah. So it's worth noting that you can't not use your AMS. Okay, you're not allowed to say, "Oh, I'm not going to bother stopping that one." If you have a missile system that's hit you and it's from the arc where your AMS covers, your AMS goes off.
It goes off, yeah.
It's kind of like the little CWIS cannons that they have on the ships, on battleships and things. And it tries to take them all out.
Yeah.
It's automated.
Yeah.
Okay. So it will go off. And it's 1 shot of ammunition each time the AMS is fired. So if more than one missile weapon successfully strikes a target in the attack direction covered by the firing arc where an AMS is mounted, defending player can choose which missile weapon to inflict the modifier against. Okay, so you're not allowed to not set it off, but if there's multiples, you're allowed to choose which one you fire against.
Yeah.
Okay. And yeah, only one AMS can engage one missile weapon in a turn, regardless of how many AMS cover the attack direction. So splitting them up around is probably a good idea.
Yeah. If someone's using a Artemis fire control and the NARC stuff, yep. So that gives you the plus.
Yeah. So they give you a +2 for the NARC. We already ran into that, and the bonus for the Artemis, they just add together.
Cancels out.
Right?
Yeah,
so you got a -4 on the cluster, you get a +2 on the cluster, you've got a -2 all over.
That's right. Cool.
So regardless of how many AMS cover the attack direction, if you mount more than one AMS that cover the same attack direction, the defender chooses the order in which they activate and against which missile system they inflict the modifiers. So if you do have multiples facing front, then you can go, okay, this one, they've both activated, this one's going to do this one, this one's going to do this one. But you can only have each one go against one. Okay, so you can't have them both go against a single one. That doesn't work.
But I really want that Thunderbolt 20 to go down.
I was going to say, everybody just went, ooh, 6 shots to get a Thunderbolt 20 to go out of the... Yep, I'm taking that. No, you can't do it. You have to go one-on-one. So each flight is attacked by one AMS. They do use an actual explosive ammo, which is a little bit sucky. So if that location is hit, you get 2 damage per shot.
Yeah. So whatever you got left in the bin, that's 2 points for each of those.
And it's either 12 or 24. So
Clanners.
It's a bit of damage. It's a bit of damage. It's not nothing.
But I reckon that's a great piece of equipment. It really is.
And if you're against LRM players or people that favour missile systems, then seriously consider whacking one on there.
Yeah.
I mean, if you take out, say, a small laser and a medium laser or something like that, you just need that 1.5 tons, and you can do some solid damage to a missile firing unit.
Missiles are they're so common, really. They are. I mean, everyone likes energy weapons because you don't have to worry about ammo and all that sort of thing, but the flexibility that LRMs on their own with all that special ammo and things like that it's so good.
It's insanely good. The sort of thing that you're looking... I mean, if you're looking at something like a rocket launcher or an MRM-40...
Yeah.
Like you say, even if you drop it to 2, you're still taking a lot of damage, but you're taking a lot of damage versus an absolute boatload of damage.
A boatload of it.
Right?
Yeah.
So you're seriously impeding the damage output they have per ammo that they fire, if you see what I mean.
Yeah.
There is a laser AMS. I completely forgot about the laser AMS.
Does a lot of heat, that one, though, from memory.
Yeah, it does.
Or something, wasn't it? It was really high.
I think every time it goes off, it's 7.
But the advantage is, of course, being lazy, you don't have to worry about ammunition.
Well, that's it.
But
And
you need them.
I think I remember reading that the laser AMS can actually wipe out an entire flight. I might have to look that up a bit further. But let's go on to Artemis. Did you want to...
I can have a look for... Oh, you want to have a look? And
I'll have a squeeze and you can talk about Artemis. Because Artemis IV is a fairly bog standard thing that shows up these days.
Yeah, okay. So Artemis IV fire control system is for LRMs, all right? So it takes up a slot and it links to a launcher.
Yep.
It's actually quite good. So any missiles that are linked to that give you your bonus on your cluster hits.
You can technically put them on SRMs as well.
Oh.
But they're better on LRMs.
Oh, excellent.
But
okay.
you can technically put them on SRMs.
There you go. Even I learned something today. That was good.
You can technically put them on MMLs as well.
MML, that's right, because they use LRM and
Because they use
SRM
both.
as their choice. Okay.
Yeah, and it's actually attached to the launcher.
Yeah.
So that's a thing.
Yeah. So that doesn't work with indirect fire if you're doing that with your LRMs. Okay, obviously SRMs and whatever, they don't do that, so that's not an issue.
Yeah.
You can still shoot standard ammunition through a launcher that has an Artemis IV attached to it. Okay, and that's important because there is some technology. We did the video, we were talking about the INARCs.
Yep.
If you start using homing ammo and things like that, it can cause a bit of an issue. If you just want to ignore all that and just fire normal ammunition, you can do that. That's cool.
But I'm pretty sure you can fire every ammunition, like
it will fire them. It just won't benefit from the
it doesn't give the
bonus.
Artemis stuff.
Yeah. And it is important to know that if you do get a critical hit location for the Artemis launcher, it doesn't disable the launcher that it's attached to. It just means that even if you fire the ammunition that's geared for that bonus, it won't work.
Yeah.
So that's quite good.
That's really good.
So the clans, they have the ATM launcher, which we talked about, which actually has an Artemis IV fire control built into the system.
Yeah.
Which is really nice.
Which is just
I really like that.
So
Jones found it.
On 322, page 322 of TACOps, you have the laser anti-missile system. So it is just a standard anti-missile system, but uses a laser instead of ammunition. So obviously you don't have to pay for ammunition with it, which is a cool thing, and it will continue to fire, which is also a cool thing. You won't ever run out of shots with your ammunition, with your AMS.
Yeah.
Okay.
And no ammo explosion and no criticals for ammo, so your space and everything is really cool.
Yep. The other plus side is that laser anti-missile is actually allowed to reduce a cluster roll to less than 2. So you can completely destroy a missile flight with laser anti-missile systems. You can't do that with ballistic ones.
Yeah.
Okay? And that's cool. That's actually cool.
It's not cool against my MRMs, just saying.
The one downside is that every time it goes off, the Innisphere and Clan both have them. So the Innisphere one, every time it goes off, it builds up 7 heat. Okay, that's more than a medium laser.
Yeah.
Okay, that's large laser heat levels. The Clan one builds up 5 heat, so even that isn't particularly good. But because you're saving a little space, but you've got capacitors and all that sort of stuff in there anyway, you've got 1.5 tons weight and 2 spaces for the Innisphere system.
Right.
You don't have to buy any ammo or make space for ammo or weigh ammo or anything like that. And the Clan one is just 1 and 1.
I mean, 7 heat, but then you don't have to worry about ammo and things like that. It's only going to go off if someone shoots missiles at you, but I don't know.
See, if you're playing against someone that uses a lot of missiles and is just feeling a bit down on the fact that you keep reducing his missile flights to 0.
Who's that?
Not me, that's for sure. I wouldn't do anything this petty. They might fire all of their missiles at the system, at the mech that has this system, and either A, overload you if you've got multiples of them.
Yeah.
Because your heat will skyrocket if you set multiples of these off in one round, your heat will go way up.
Yeah.
Okay. Or just so that they know for a fact that you're not going to be able to stop them all. I mean,
True.
Focus fire.
True.
It's a good thing.
You're gonna want that water source.
Yeah.
Those heat sinks in your legs, and you want to be parking in that water because that's. But still, that's a nice little piece of equipment. It is.
It's not bad. And I mean, you could use that on some, like you say, ones that have more heat sinks or can get to water, or maybe even put it on a vehicle, I guess.
Well, vehicle, if it's because it's energy based, you'll have to put capacitors on there, so that'll still take up weight.
So you'll take a little bit of extra weight and things like that, but you won't have to have a problem with heat.
Because you have to build it to maintain all the heat levels. So
it actually has to be built specifically to take care of that, which means that you never have to track it.
Yeah.
But it means you lose extra weight and space in order to put in the, say, buffers and capacitors and all that sort of junk.
I suppose you could put it's more expensive, like cost wise and things like that. You could put like a standard fusion engine into a tank, and that comes with the heat sinks, and that could cover that, and then just have ballistic weapons for the rest of it. So there's ways around it, I suppose. But We've sort of focused primarily on mechs, and we can see what sort of penalties you can get having 7 heat. Double heat sinks to your friends.
Well, that's it. If you're like me and you're riding fairly close to the edge on your heat scale pretty much every turn, if somebody shoots you with missiles and this thing goes off and you weren't expecting it to,
yeah, that's true.
then you could be in a bit of trouble.
Yeah.
But, yeah.
That's still pretty good.
Yeah. So we went through Artemis.
Gone through Artemis. Yep.
We also had... Wait, what was the other thing we were going to do?
Okay.
Oh, yes, tag.
Tag is good.
That's it. So we're going to page 142 of Total Warfare.
So those of you who are being homeschooled in BattleTech, students, please turn to page 142 of your manual book.
You see this? You see this? This is... See that? If you're playing these sort of games, one of the problems with these rule books is they are a bit fragmented sometimes. So if you play a lot of funky stuff, like I do, make yourself a cheat sheet, right? Write down the page and the book of where the rule is that you need to know in order to play the thing that you want to play, because it'll make it a lot quicker.
Yeah, true.
But yeah, so tag, targeting, acquisition, gear. Bom, bom, bom.
This is cool. I like this. We've used it in some of our
these.
battles, and we have mentioned it and talked about it.
Yeah.
But let's get right into it and really.
So it is basically like you would think. Like they've used these for like smart missiles and bombs and things for a while now, I think.
Yeah.
So you're painting an enemy unit with some sort of laser device. Now, it's advanced. It's the future.
Yep.
So they've got all sorts of weird, funky things that go, no, I'm not here, I'm over there, or just splays the laser out so it's not anything. This is specifically designed to counter.
Yeah.
Counter.
That's it.
Okay. So you're basically just painting the target with a laser. You make a 2-hit roll for that tag. I'm pretty sure it's out to standard laser range.
It is.
Yep.
Yeah. So your large laser range out to 15, 5, 10, 15.
Okay. So you make your tag 2-hit roll at the end of the movement phase.
Yeah, it's a bit different. It adds another sequence in between movement and weapons.
But that's why I like it, because as far as I'm concerned, now you can argue this in the comments if you like. I could be wrong, but to my mind, the way this works is if you get the tag to go off in the weapon in the movement phase, then you are no longer obliged to worry about the spotter firing in the weapon phase. Okay? Because that target is painted, all the missiles go boom, and then you shoot. This is the thing that I'm thinking. This is how I do it. So as long as your tag goes off, you don't need to worry about the modifier for firing, which means as long as your tag goes off,
Yep.
your spotter can shoot.
Yep.
And there's no weirdness. But basically what it does is you calculate your standard weapon attack. Oh, it even says it there. A unit can use tag to spot and make a weapon attack with no additional 2-hit penalty.
Yeah.
Oh, I've never actually seen that.
Yeah.
rule.
Yeah. Really
Okay,
good.
they must have put that in later because I remember reading it and having to figure it out, I'm sure. So if you fail, the tag has no further effect, obviously. If the 2-hit roll is successful, the system designates the target for that turn's weapon attack phase. The target unit is designated for any number of attacks from any number of units using tag.
Yep. Yep. So your semi-guided LRMs and your artillery. So the Capellans I think it was the Capellans who invented the Arrow 4 homing missile or whatever, which is really good.
So it's basically a semi-guided Arrow 4 missile.
Yeah. Big artillery piece.
Yeah.
So yeah.
So if we flip back to page 142, where targeting acquisition gear starts, above it you've got the semi-guided missile. So when firing semi-guided missiles at any target in range successfully designated by a friendly tag, the attacker ignores the target movement modifier. When firing indirectly, also ignore indirect fire and spotter movement modifiers. So,
Rude.
it's really good. It's really good. So you're not going to have a +1 for weapon fire, so that's out already. If you're not indirect firing, you don't have the target movement modifier. So even those super fast guys will lose that like +4, +3, whatever that they're usually adding.
Yeah, that's hurt.
Which is really good. And the way I would use this is put the tag system in a small fast unit that has a good pilot in it. Okay, so you can offset those +4s and +3s to get the tag to hit, and that will offset those +4s, +3s for the slightly less well-skilled LRM firing things.
Yeah.
Okay. So that's just direct fire, no target movement modifier if it's tagged. When you indirect fire, there's no target movement modifier, but you also don't have the indirect fire modifier, which is the +1 that you get standard for indirect fire. And you don't have spotter movement modifier, which means that if you're using a light fast unit, which you should be, you're not going to have that +3, +4 for their movement as well. So you've potentially, let's say they get a +3 each. If you've tagged them successfully, you've cut 7 off your roll. It's just straight away. 3 for the target, 3 for the spotter, and 1 for indirect fire. That's 7 +7 gone. Just like that. It's pretty good.
It is very good.
It's pretty damn good.
And things like ECM and whatnot, they don't affect that.
No, but I think they do affect semi-guided missiles.
They can affect those and the NARC. So if you're using NARC to paint somebody to get those benefits, that affects them, but an actual tag doesn't.
Yeah.
It's quite rude.
Quite rude. Yeah. I think it breaks through the doesn't affect other scanning and targeting devices such as tag and targeting computers.
Yeah.
So that's actually really, really good.
Yeah, I mean, if you're a big fan of your LRMs, which I know you are, it's a must-have. It's someone's got to have it.
And once you start getting into the electronic warfare and you get things like ECMs and ECCMs and all that sort of stuff, this is a way to just straight up bypass that. The NARC beacon that we discussed a while ago, that cuts all spotter modifiers out.
Yeah.
Okay, so you've got, well, let's say you're using a fast thing. Let's use the +3. So you've lost that +3 for their movement, and you've lost potentially a 1 or a 0 or a 1 for the terrain between the two. Right? So that's a possible thing, right? You've cut down maybe 4. But the bonus for that is you don't need the spotter at all. He doesn't have to be there. Once the NARC is equipped, he can run behind a hill and just sit there until that location is blown off, right? So you've got slightly less change to the modifier, but you've got a safer system.
Yeah.
Okay? The semi-guided, you have to have a unit still around with tag, right? So you're going to want to use a fast system. But like I said just then, you've got potential to drop 7 off your modifier rather than just the 4. So it's good. It is really good.
Yeah, and if you're rich and you can get some of that homing Arrow 4 artillery we'll talk a bit more about, but it's worth mentioning here, they can be absolutely deadly.
Get your catapult with the Arrow 4 system in it, and a couple of little guys with tag on them, and just start obliterating people.
Yeah, I mean, your opponent will probably never ever play you again and probably remove you from their Facebook and whatever else. But I mean, it's war, so I suppose
if they take
everything in balance.
If they take that first game personally, then yeah, they probably will. But if they're smart, they'll go away and they might make a lance that will just completely destroy your plan anyway. So
there is ways around it.
There's ways around
everything. So don't stress.
That's one of the beauties of BattleTech.
Yeah, I think that's why a lot of people preferred the older 3025 before the clan. Not necessarily have anything against the clans, but it's just there's so much extra technology and rules and things like that. They like the idea of just build your crate, send it into battle, and just smash it out a bit.
Yeah, and you can do a lot with just 3025 tech.
Yeah,
you can have some seriously fun games. But if you do want to branch out a bit, there's some cool stuff.
There is
out
some cool stuff. Yeah, definitely.
I think that's all our electronics.
Yeah, for this video
for that.
anyway. There's some other stuff
So
we want to talk about.
we'll have to go into some other ammunition types now.
Definitely, yeah, definitely.
Fun.
There you go. So,
Alrighty.
consider subscribing. We'd love to have you on board, and that way you can tick the little notification as soon as a video drops. We're there. We're up on the screen for you. If you need us, we're here. Okay. Thank you very much. We'll see you next time.
Bye, guys.
It's all right, Terry.
It's okay.
It's all right.
I think I'm broken. I just find the whole like, subscribe thing hilarious.
subscribe.
I use like to remember a video. It's not necessarily when I like, it's when I might want to watch again. You just go like.
Like, that's it, yeah. But if you don't subscribe, you don't.
Well, that's it.